Gilbert Police Chief Soelberg's PR tour is not being met with the success that he was hoping for. His general drum keeps on beating that they have done everything right at Gilbert PD.
Keep in mind that In-N-Out is in a very popular, very busy location. It's right next to the mall, right next to the freeway. It's one of the locations that's open late, and so we've always been aware that the teenagers congregate there, and so we've been very proactive throughout the years of making sure that they know we're there, we're being visible, quickly responding to calls. And in those calls that you mentioned, the majority of those, a lot of the teen calls didn't involve violence.
Bombshell that came out today is in regards to a 12 News article and report that there have been hundreds of calls to the Gilbert In-N-Out over the last 4 years, and many of them have involved teen violence. 12 News found that Gilbert PD had responded to In-N-Out approximately 256 times since January 2020, and in 79 of those cases, teens were involved.
Teens hanging out, sometimes adults being disruptive, and teens were involved. But I wanted to make sure it was very clear to the community and to the media of everything we had that involved a teen, and so that you could see what we were dealing with, and the majority of them weren't crimes.
Assaults, throwing soda at drivers, verbally abusing people, 50 juveniles getting rowdy, one with a gun, wearing a gas mask. This is bad news for Gilbert PD and In-N-Out.
What would you say to, I know one of the suspects that was in one of your police reports that was interviewed said there were fights going on there summer 2023 all the time and nothing was done.
And we had 4 documented assaults at the In-N-Out. What we know now is that we had, as I mentioned, 5 additional assaults at it.
The math still is not mathing with the reports of how often fights were happening, and on one hand hearing from Chief Soelberg that they did everything they could to get in front of it and make their presence known, and at the same time saying they did not know about it. Finally, there's the all-popular victim blaming, where Chief Soelberg basically says if you were a victim and you didn't report, your attacker's going to reoffend and it's your fault.
The important thing for our community to know is if a crime is not reported to us, they're more likely going to reoffend. And so we need those crimes to be reported to us. We will work with our community and with our victims to protect them.
That these people are part of a group affiliated with several violent attacks here in the East Valley area. So if they're calling them a group, you know, in court, in police reports, I mean, how long does it take to figure out what they are or who's a part of it?
Yeah, and the big question is whether we can be classified as a criminal street gang. So regardless of whether they're a criminal street gang, there are groups of individuals that are committing assaults.
The Gilbert Goons so far have not been classified as a street gang. That means the assaults that are moving forward right now against people like Christopher Fantastic, Eris Arregondo, Kyler Renner, Gage Garrison, Owen Hines, all of those cases that are moving forward, they are not moving forward on gang charges at this time. They are not involved with gang prosecutors. I think this may have an impact on Preston Lord's murder, because the theory for Preston Lord's murder is felony murder, and the underlying felony is kidnapping. So if you can prove that a kidnapping, a confinement, was part of a pattern of behavior, then maybe you can prove an intent to kidnap. But if you're not moving forward on gang charges with all these other people who have been involved in all these other assaults, is that going to impact the prosecutor's ability to claim now in Preston Lord's murder that this wasn't part of a larger plan? Let me state that another way. If the prosecution has to prove a pattern of events that was carried out by a gang, but they have not charged anyone else in a gang, will that impact Preston's prosecution? I don't know. Definitely going to ask.